Welcome to the lesson on how to insert a chart into a spreadsheet. Now you'll notice here, not only do I have the data that we've been working with to the left, but I actually left the pivot table that we created in the last lesson. This is because charts require data to be presented in a certain way, where you have lines in columns, because we're going to be doing a line graph, spoiler alert, as well as the days you want on the side. So this data set over here is in what people in the data world call a long format. There's one row per person per day. We really need this summarized by day as well as people. So if you don't know how to create a pivot table or need a refresher, please go back and watch our lesson entitled Pivot Tables 1, where we go through generally how to create a pivot table. So what we're going to do now is create a chart. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab the area in the pivot table right here. So you see the row labels. This is what I want on the x-axis or the bottom of the graph. This is the data I want to graph, and each one of these are separate lines. So again, because we're inserting something that's foreign into the spreadsheet, we go to the Insert tab, and we're going to grab, in the Charts section, we're going to grab Line, because I want to see how each of these people look day over day, to see if there are any patterns I can find. So I'm going to select in the line. Now it's going to take the best guess of what it wants me to graph. And you see here, since we did it off a pivot table, it actually shows some of the filters as well as functions that we can have, which is another benefit of doing it straight off a pivot table. However, if you want to do them alone, that is another way to do it. So you see here, it guessed right. It was able to show us where it graphed Michelle, Bob, Kenny, and blank. Because this is a pivot table, I'm going to take off blank because blank is no one. I don't care about blank's sleep. And so here we're seeing the sum of hours slept. The filters are set at all because you can see that back here. And it shows that Michelle, while sleeping less than Bob through the week, actually catches up quite well on the weekends. Kenny has moments where he just sleeps more than everyone else, but he also generally sleeps less than everyone, potentially because of the children, where Bob is really steady Eddie. I really wish his name was Eddie. So you see here, if there's anything that's wrong or it didn't guess right, because remember, Excel's trying to help you out, but is quite stupid at times, you can come in here and select data. And what it does here is as you click in here, you can see the pieces, the lines that were added, as well as the x-axis. Here it doesn't let us edit it because it is a pivot table. So for argument's sake, because this is a learning tool, I'm going to actually grab this and I'm going to copy it, Control C. I'm going to go onto sheet 2 and I'm going to right click, go to paste special. And what paste special allows me to do is paste values. What this is to make sure that none of the pivot table calculates over. So you see here, same thing as before, just not in a pretty pivot table. If I insert a line chart here, it will do the same thing. You see a lot of those filters no longer are there because it's just pulling off straight data instead of a pivot table. But what this allows me to do is go into select data, and I can actually edit things like what I call the Michelle line. If I want to call it something else, like friend 1. And then if I need to grab different data, and you see over here, Michelle's line moved to friend 1. I'm going to change that back because obviously I thought it was quite creative to call it Michelle, a little bit more descriptive. Same thing here if it tried to graph the days, because maybe you had them as numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, instead of Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Here's where you can edit or move things around. Remove some lines if it accidentally graphed one you no longer want. Like if you wanted to take Bob out, we could do that. A lot of options there in the select data. So again, very early on, how to insert charts. In charts 2, we'll go through how to add titles, format axes, zoom in and out, change the look and the feel of the graph. But that's how you grab data and put a chart in your spreadsheet.